Hey guys, it's me, the 90s Doggo, and we're going to do another podcast. This is the number 9 about Arcane Season 1. I am here with my brother Alex.
Hey there, I am Alex, the voice of a rat. But I am gonna talk with my normal voice because rat is a little chatty and goofy.
Yeah, but this time we have another guest, which is Stygian. Come on.
Hello there.
Uh, how are you
Hello
doing?
there. Sorry. I'm doing good. Just, a little nervous to do something like this because I'm not usually one that does, that gets in podcasts or whatever.
Well, don't worry, this channel is just over 300 subs, so
Yeah, not much people are going to see you.
yeah.
Yeah, that's true. But still, the fact that there's an audience is a little nerve wracking.
We are already used to that. You will get used to it.
Yeah, it won't be so bad. At least I got two people I can talk to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so where you want to start with season one? Like,
I guess.
we
Oh,
could
sorry.
start with Act 1, which is the first 3 episodes.
Or maybe the obviously is that this series is based in a popular video game, the LOL
Yeah, League of Legends, the one with the cringe.
commercials.
Yeah. I used to
Yeah.
see so many of those back
But
in
I
the day.
like it.
Yeah, they were funny, but in a very.
Cringe way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I used to play a little bit of League of Legends. This was way before, Arcane was announced, I believe. But I played a little bit of it because I heard, people talk about it. I played a bit. It was all right. I didn't play too much. I mostly just played for Ari. But I did play like this like sword guy. I think his name was Galen. I don't know, but he's like from Demacia or whatever. He was pretty fun too, but after a while, I just kind of dropped the game because the community is not
Toxic.
the best. Yeah,
And
yeah,
well, this problem is not for the game itself, but the game is too old and a little outdated, so it's like a time capsule, the same way the World of Warcraft.
Yeah, those games that are survived for so long, but they haven't updated the graphics or anything, so it is like,
A time machine
yeah,
from
yeah,
mid-thousand, 2000 games.
yeah. That is very true. Even to this day, the game looks the same as when I played it years ago. I think it was around 2018 or something, or 19. So it looks like it's hardly changed, aside from maybe new champions or reworks. But even then,
Yeah, and a little, I don't know, sparkles from graphics here and there, but too little to use notice.
yeah.
yeah,
Now to the main game, Arcane.
Yeah, the thing about
oh
League of
yeah,
Legends is that not just the trailers and commercials were cringe. It was like it's like the overall tone of the game, very wacky and crazy.
What's the original Overwatch, you could say?
I would say that it's even more over the top than Overwatch. Overwatch tried to be a little bit more serious sometimes,
Yeah.
and
yeah. I agree.
it is kind of weird that from that video game it came this almost Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones
A
type
tonal
of,
shift.
yeah, a very different type of adaptation. One that is nothing like the source material, but somehow is still faithful and respects it.
Yeah, that's what I found very surprising about Arcane. I mean, I didn't know a lot about the lore of League of Legends other than just vague things here and there. So when I watched it, I was like, "Whoa, what the fuck?" Because like the very first episode of Arcane just starts off incredibly strong. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it's really good.
like just the fact that we open up to like this little war zone. I mean, it's more of a battle, but it just gives off the tone that it's a war zone. Like just red, just this huge plume of smoke, red lighting, this like very ominous atmosphere, and the little girl like you know, singing a sort of like lullaby song.
Yeah,
Who's
it's really,
Powder? She was the one singing.
Yeah.
it's really impressive, and uh, without words, you can perfectly understand what's going on, and it gets you right in the mood.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'd say that scene is like some of the best examples of visual storytelling. It just sets the tone for everything that's going to happen throughout season one from that point on.
Yeah, and
It's insane just how effective it was.
yeah, and the prologue, the first three episodes, the real protagonist was Vander more than the I think,
Yeah.
but they, you know,
Yeah, and it is and it's so well done that it almost works like a movie.
yeah,
It really
Movie
does.
where the good guys don't win, but still,
like a game over in a video game or bad ending,
yeah, but then still going on later.
yeah, with a time skip and all that.
Yeah, it's yeah, that's exactly how I feel with this. Like you said before, like Vander felt more like a protagonist throughout Act One, even if I don't know if he had more screen time than Vi or even Powder in season one. I think he did, but
But he was the
just
hero
yeah,
who moved the plot in that point.
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. He was
Yeah,
the one that
everything starts by the little act of disobedience that do Vi and her friends, but later after that the story continues thanks to Vander.
yeah. It's crazy just how his actions, even throughout the start, just are still felt throughout the rest of the show, even if he's not around for Act Two and Act Three.
Yeah, he reminds me of Kamina of Gurren Lagann. You know, the badass main protagonist that just died in middle
Yeah,
of the
yeah,
season.
yeah, that you don't see
Yeah, I
him
remember
coming
him.
at all. I
Yeah.
mean, I have my problems with Gurren Lagann, but if one thing did really well is that make you think that Kamine was going to be the main character of the show, and suddenly, boom, he's dead.
Yeah, but we in a
Yeah.
heroic death, you could say.
I
His
mean,
finest hour.
yeah,
He went out with a bang, pretty much. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. For example, now that we are talking about Vander, near the end when he becomes that Hulk Shimmer Resident Evil Tyrant, he had to choose one to save B or kill Silco, and he chose to save B.
yeah.
Huh?
Oh yeah,
That was
I love
badass.
that.
Oh yeah, he always chooses B when he can over violence
Yeah,
to save
Yeah.
his adoptive daughters.
yeah. But,
Absolutely. Yeah.
but he had the option to use kill Silco and finish off his reign of terror.
Yeah, but then Vi will be dead.
Yeah,
And we saw like how earlier through Act One that Vander is a very caring kind of guy. Like he would make sacrifices because like the whole point of at the beginning of the prologue in Act One, like it showed the type of character Vander is. And originally he would take action as what it implied, but when he saw like what you know specific actions would bring, for example, orphaning Vi and Powder, even if it was unintentionally, it happened, and he realized this rebellion or anything isn't worth it if this is the outcome. And from that he's just he'd rather put down the gloves and
was
just
like
help
a
these poor girls.
pacifist, but a badass pacifist. He was like a buff Mahatma Gandhi, you
Yeah.
could say.
Yeah,
Huh?
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I mean,
That's what I
even
liked about Vander too.
uh, I mean, Sevika even was one of the first characters to call him out for being like a coward, but then it is that scene when they see when Vander says to her face, "Do I look afraid?" and he's like, "What a badass" and everything, and then she replies, "No, you look weak."
I like
Yeah,
Sevika's
I love that
origin.
too.
Yeah,
That was that was such a good retort by Savika, and from that line alone, it just or like just from Savika's first few lines in Act One, it tells what kind of character she is. You know?
I always think that Sevika is like a lady Sagat from a Street Fighter. You know, the big guy and all that. Huh?
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, she well, this is later, but she later gets like the mechanical arms to fight with V.
Yeah,
oh yeah,
like
the
a full
mechanical arm
metal
was great.
alchemist arm.
Yeah, because it uses shimmer, so it's
Yeah.
yeah. Like,
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of what's that character's name from Deus Ex Human Revolution? I forgot his name. Do you guys know his name?
yeah,
Jensen.
Jensen, Adam Jensen. See,
Yeah.
yeah,
There we go. Yeah, Adam Jensen. Her arm kind of reminded me of Adam Jensen, especially like in Act, I believe, 3, when she, modifies it more and it
with
has
the
that,
blade.
Yeah.
yeah, with the badass blade. Yeah. Except, unlike Jensen, her blade seems to be like superheated and it can shoot out, these energy blades from the power it emits, which is really cool.
Yeah. Speaking about that, the fight scenes in this series is really are really good.
Yeah.
There are not
Oh,
many,
yeah,
but
absolutely.
there are not many, but they are really well done. And uh, yeah, especially the ones that are with Vibe, because you can tell they really studied her fighting style to be like a boxer, and you can see her move around and dodge attacks and punching back and everything.
She reminds me
Yeah.
of Steve Fox from Tekken, her
Yeah,
fighting style.
yeah,
Yeah, it reminds me of that too.
yeah.
Like I remember hearing this. I think it was from one of EFAP's stream where I can't remember who said it, but someone in the podcast said it where I believe one of the animators specifically took 3 years of boxing so they can, get a proper understanding of how boxing works when it came to animating Vi. And just putting that in perspective, it's like, holy hell, that is incredible dedication. I respect whoever that animator is for doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's like a lady Rocky Balboa, you could say, B.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like how despite how skilled and, experienced Vi is, she's not, overpowered or
No.
invincible.
Sevika in the first battle kicked her butt. Huh?
Yeah, she. I mean, she was winning at one point, but she got overconfident and forgot that she had a mechanical arm with with claws that could easily hurt her, and
Almost died.
yeah, she had to be saved by
Yeah.
Kathleen.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's true. Because I mean Savika put up a good fight there, and it was kind of funny when, Savika pointed out that Vi never learned patience. But right after she said that, Vi was more patient and just, waited for Savika to strike. But I also liked how at the end of the fight, Vi, had the upper hand when she had Savika on the ground. But it was only until, Savika revealed about what happened with Powder that, she lost her grip, and Savika took that opportunity and stabbed her. Just from that single stab alone, it was probably going to kill Vi, and Vi probably would have died sooner by Savika if it wasn't for Caitlyn.
Well, another thing of that scene is that Sevika is intelligent because she used, psychological damage to their opponent in that scene.
Yeah, everything is fair in this kind of battle, so the fight is not over just because you kick the ass of the opponent. It's a fight to the death.
Yeah, it's whoever is willing to still get back up and take the opportunity. Because you can get beaten down as much as you can, but if you could still stand and fight, then the fight's not over. And she took that opportunity pretty well.
Yeah, I love
And
this series.
Yeah, but another chapter that's really important is Powder, which is also Jinx. She,
oh,
you can tell from the beginning that Powder is a child with many problems. Like even the way,
Confidence
yeah,
problems.
yeah, she has self-confidence problems. Like the way she makes these gadgets that are grenades and nails, bombs. She draws animal faces in them and gives them names. Shows
oh
that
yeah,
she doesn't have much friends.
Not only that, I wanna say something. Powder wasn't exactly a saint because she always had that dark side because she liked to make weapons and all that and explosives. So that was a
Yeah,
little.
in the
yeah,
in the battle with the kids, you can see that she doesn't like to see violence, but because she doesn't like to get punched. But when she runs away, she is excited to see if her nail bomb is going to work. But if it had worked, that could have killed that.
Killed the boy.
Yeah,
yeah. Like, I mean, maybe he could be lucky and get stabbed with nails, but that's not a guarantee. Because what if one of those nails, like, what if they're sent out in such a high velocity, it like goes through his skull like a bullet, or goes through his eye and just kills him like that.
yeah, it's a nail bomb. Those are dangerous.
Yeah, and
So
I like that.
Powder wasn't exactly a pure angel.
No.
Absolutely not. No, I like that the show, like even like through the beginning when you get introduced to Powder, like when they go through the apartment, with their first job. Powder doesn't always grab valuable things because I think one of the first things she grabs is like this horse toy. So it's like it doesn't have value, but she likes it because it looks fun, like a kid does. She,
Yeah.
she has childish tendencies, but the writers and the animators made sure to remind you that despite how innocent and insecure Powder looks, as a kid, there's just this slight hint of a dark side, as you guys mentioned, making nail bombs and or just
And
grenades
of
in general.
course, she probably took the gemstones. At first, she just thought that they were just glowy stones, but after she figures out that that one of those caused the explosion, she decided to keep them to possibly use them as weapons, and she does later.
Yeah. She
Oh
could
yeah,
actually killed all her friends.
yeah, yeah. That's a good point actually, because I mean she knows their capability, but I guess she just didn't really think the potential consequences because she's thinking of I need to save Vi. She's in danger against this hulking Resident Evil tyrant looking motherfucker. But I just like how that scene alone as well, when she uses the monkey bomb, it has severe consequences. Her actions specifically have severe consequences.
Yeah, that's one thing that I like about this series. It has consequences for the character's actions, and when something goes wrong, there's cause and effect going on always.
Like a domino
Yeah,
effect.
Yeah,
yeah. Someone ends up paying the price, even if it was not the intended target. Like in that scene with Powder, it unintentionally kills Clagger and Milo, and they both die almost instantly. Clagger gets hit by like shrapnel from the door. I mean, we don't really see where exactly it hits him, but it hits him somewhere in the head. And Milo, he gets like impaled by a pipe. And it's
and
like so dark too,
and then
because
after that
Milo's like in shock.
the ceiling collapses over them.
Yeah, it's so tragic because it happens so fucking fast. You're like, whoa, what the fuck? And Milo, when he gets impaled, he's in shock. Like he doesn't know what's going on. Like he sees Clyger isn't moving, and the last thing he sees is just the ceiling falling down right on top of him. It's just like, oh, it's just like shit. This show was not gonna hold back. It made it very clear. Like, yeah, you see these important characters. Well, they're not safe in this world.
Yeah, the third episode I think is the darker one.
Yeah, obviously.
Oh yes, it's definitely one of, if not the darkest episodes of the show. And we want to remind you guys that when this all happens, Vi and Powder are still kids. And
Yeah.
as a kid, Powder just took the lives of two people, her friends or adoptive brothers, and possibly a few of Soko's goons. She burned the face of Singed and blew off the arm of Civica.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even though the explosion itself didn't kill Vander, the consequences of that explosion led to Vander dying.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fire, or like the explosive fire, would end up killing him.
But Vander last stunt was really badass, I mean.
Yeah.
Oh yes, that's such a good scene. Vander's last stand. I just love how right after the explosion, Vander just he's in shock of what just happened. The first thing he sees is like Clagger and Milo are dead, and he's devastated, and he sees Vi and he thinks that she's dead up until she he hears her crying, and he sees that
Yeah. When
what's his
he,
name, the
Yeah, when he
oh
sees
sorry,
Vi that he thinks that she's dead, he gives up and
He's waiting to die now.
yeah, but when he sees that she's still alive, he decides to fight back.
yeah, he just pulls a Spider-Man and gets the rubble off his back. He knocks out the first dude that tries to come at him, and he
Never fight
improvises
mano a
and
mano
makes
with the tyrant.
self-made fisticuffs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and right after even when he's in severe pain from just having the ceiling fall on him, he just moves out of the smoke, and such a perfectly shot scene. Just the way he comes out, he stares down Soko stares him down, just takes on both one of his goons and the Shimmer monster.
Yeah.
I think the
And
Shimmer monster, the tyrant, the name of that
yeah,
teenager was Decker. I saw in the wiki, and he was like the proto Jinx, the young mind that Silco just wrap it up and all that. Huh?
Yeah, he was influencing.
Yeah.
He wasn't just a regular took for him. He uses his own philosophy to influence him and convince him to take the shimmer.
Yeah, and that young boy wasn't exactly evil, just confused.
oh what, sorry, it's cut out for a second.
He said that Descartes was not necessarily evil, that he was just another kid like Vi or Milo and the others.
Yeah, and we also got to remember that when Deckard was spying on them, he's like every other Zonite. He's desperate, for a little bit of whatever he can scrap around.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And it's really sad too, when he gets manipulated by Silco with his incredible speech, by the way, to take the shimmer.
not only that, after his first, Hulk form and that killed a Vander friend that was the adopted father of Fico, the Shimmer
Oh,
is
Benzo?
killing-
Yeah,
yeah,
Benzo.
Benzo. The Shimmer is killing Deckard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Slowly.
Yeah.
Because I remember that Singed, he implied that Or like, I remember that Silco asked Singe like, "Will he live?" And he just replies with "long enough." So just from that, it implies that it is gonna kill Deckard, or at least leave him severely, suffering from a severe withdrawal. Because after like the first Hulk form wears out, we can see him just like slouching about in extreme pain, like he can hardly just stand up.
Yeah. Hmm.
But
And I feel bad for the guy. And oh, sorry.
no, continue.
Sorry, it's just one thing I was gonna say is like I think it even begins to deform him a bit because after like he takes the shimmer, it like begins to show these like kind of crack marks on him. Maybe I'm misremembering, but shimmer has like an extreme side effect to the body, as we would see later on, and it has like an incredibly strong addictive property. Because like the fact that when he sees shimmer again, he doesn't hesitate to take it because he like almost looks excited when he sees it, because he wants to get that thrill again.
Yeah, it's like a crack addict.
Yeah, that's why later Silco uses it like a little drug like that he sells.
Drug empire.
Yeah, he becomes a
Yeah.
drug lord.
Yeah, it's terrifying how powerful shimmer is. Like, not only does it kind of reminds me of that thing you told me before, like from Oddworld. Is it okay if I mention out
Yeah.
Oddworld? Because
We love the world.
yeah, yeah. All right. I just want to be sure, because I remember there was this thing in, I think it was Oddworld Soulstorm, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, where like the what's that alien race that slaves the Medokans?
The
the
glucons.
glucons. Yeah, the glucons.
The Glucons? Yeah. I remember that in Soulstorm, it's revealed that the brew that the Medokans drink throughout the games, I think, is actually an extremely addictive substance. Like, not only does it enhance their performance, so they can get the utmost performance for their slave labor, but it has a severe withdrawal side effect to the point where the Medokans they need to take the brew. If they don't, in 24 hours they will suffer from the withdrawals and they'll die.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But I'd say like, the brew is more extreme than, shimmer, because at least shimmer, you can survive shimmer, but the brew will kill you one way or another.
Actually, I think there is a difference. After the time skip, it seemed that the shimmer effects are less lethal.
yeah. Probably Silco asked Singe to make a different formula, so it's not as powerful. So it wouldn't be good for him that his drug that he's selling to everyone, suddenly everyone started to turn into tyrant monsters. It will be...
Yeah, for example, when Sevika fights B, she injects shimmer in her arm, but she doesn't become a tyrant.
Yeah, it's,
Oh yeah, that's true.
yeah, it's like
Just enchants a little its combat abilities.
yeah, even when Sinch gives Victor one version of Shimmer, he specifically says that it is another variant. That means that there's different versions of Shimmer.
Oh yeah, you're right. I completely forgot about that. Because like even like when we're introduced in Act 2, when we, see the new and improved Undercity, we see like, Zonites, they're smoking shimmer and they are perfectly fine. And others, like with Victor, his variant was specifically to, survive a violent transition. Or at least like it's not meant to give him, the super abilities. It's just to give him the effects of shimmer.
Yeah, it's more like I feel like it was almost like in that case to so like a painkiller.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Because like when Vi gets stabbed and Kayla needs to find something to heal her, the solution that ends up showing up was a variant of shimmer, like a a medical variant. So it shows that, Shimmer could also be used to like heal someone in dire situations.
Yeah. So you could say that the Shimmer applications evolve in the time skip.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just really shows that, Singed is quite capable of making specific variants, and obviously, Silco, he gets his power from Shimmer, so he has to supply different types so he can keep that power and to make a profit off of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
as his empire grows, he gets more people working with him.
yeah. Okay, we have talked a lot about the chapters from the Undercity, but we now have to mention Jace, and we mentioned it.
Yeah, the
Victor.
political subplot.
Yeah, that's really important.
Oh yeah,
While that part is not very interesting in the first 3 episodes and is only there to set it up for later, later it becomes one of the most interesting parts of the series.
For example, you could say if B is the fighting protagonist, you could say the political protagonist is Jace from the other story arc.
Yeah.
oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because oh sorry,
Now continue.
yeah, because like Jace, like he's meant to represent the other side of Piltover. And I liked how Jace started off, because like Jace's whole storyline kind of revolves around the politics of Piltover, or the Upper City, as it's like it's sometimes called. Like they take the opportunity to really show off the political side and the difference between both Piltover and Zon. Like we're introduced to the council members, how they operate things, and how Jace is eventually integrated into the council.
Yeah. For example, there is something interesting. The character of Mel, she first was almost an antagonist, manipulating Jace, but after a while, she really likes him. Huh?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
could tell that she was only manipulating him at first, but later she really takes a real bond with him, because usually you could tell that she will flirt with people just to manipulate them. It was something that seemed really natural for her.
Yeah. Like the first scene with like not the first scene, but like one of the first scenes with Mel, it introduces the type of character she is, when she's looking for a gift for one of the council members.
Yeah,
The first
and
one is like
she
this.
gives that the old guy the kid's toy that was like that puzzle, and he can solve it.
Yeah. I hear it's for the sharpest of minds. And I like with that scene alone, right after she gives him that toy, when they, do the voting verdict, she looks at the old guy, specifically who she gave, the gift to, and he looks around, he's like, oh, okay. And he just raises his arm.
That means that Mel was almost a corrupt council member.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Like another example of Mel's, manipulative side was let me think. A good example would be, when Jace, starts to look after the corruption going on throughout Piltover. And, she tells him that because of his, search for corruption, it's made him a target with other council members. And, she brings in that merchant girl, the white hair girl. I can't remember her name, but in that scene, she starts speaking for Jace. She doesn't, consult Jace, like, talk to her. Or she just, starts speaking for him, saying, he likes to, make deals with everybody personally, and just, speak for him. And Jace, he notices that at first, but he, goes along with it anyway because,
Mel saw the
because he's not,
potential in Jace.
Oh yeah.
yeah, like, she knows how to, take advantage of some people. And it's, pretty messed up when it happens, because, Jace, all he wants was to make Hex Tech, for the people. And now Mel manipulates him to use it for trade disputes, which, yeah, at that scene, he's kind of like selling his soul, you know? He becomes a real politician.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
he didn't want to. Jace, he even says so. He wanted
Oh,
just
yeah.
to use hex tech to improve lives because all his life he has been. He was saved by a mage, and he thought that he could like use that power but give it back to the people instead of just a couple of individuals like gifted with the power of magic.
Yeah. And from what, you know, because of Jace's reputation for inventing Hextech, everybody wants a piece of that pie. And who knows if they're going to even use it, benevolently. They'll just use it for their own selfish gain, if it gives them power or money.
But speaking of that, of Hextech, I think the real genius, almost like the Albert Einstein of Arcane, was Victor. He didn't create Hextech like Jace, but he perfected it.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Jace on his own was for years trying to figure out how to make less dangerous the gem crystals, but with the help of Victor, they managed to do it in really short amount of time.
And the difference was that
Yeah.
Victor didn't mix well with politics, so he just research all the time from perfecting the hex core.
Yeah,
Yeah. Like, I liked how Victor got the idea from the Hex Corps, specifically because they were at the Hex Gates. And he, begins to hear the voices throughout the I guess, Hex generators or something, whatever they use for the gate. And it just gives him the idea, what if Hex Tech can learn? And he just makes the Hex Core. It's like, wow, whoa. That's like crazy how he was able to, come up with something like that in a short amount of time.
Yeah, that's why I think the problem with Victor is that he didn't have the charisma like Helmedinger or Jace. He was always the guy in the shadow of other geniuses.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, he was the assistant of Heimerdinger before.
Yeah.
But
And he specifically wanted to get involved so, he could step away from being an assistant and, make a real difference.
yeah, and that's the tragedy of all that because I think that Victor was the smartest one of the three.
Yeah, but sadly, because of that, he is the one. He was also the one that had the most motivation because not only he wanted to improve lives and save people from all the pollution and the diseases that were getting on the older city.
He was dying.
Yeah, he was having one
Yeah.
of those himself.
Because, like, when we first get introduced to Victor, he's, a crippled. He has the, the support, is like, arm support thing. And, that just leaves the implication like, well, what happened to him? Until, like, in our Act 2, it's revealed that, he's dying because of something that, happened to him in the Undercity, which, as Jason implied, it was possibly the gases in the Undercity. And it's, really sad because, that is what motivated, Jace to work with Hextech because, not only was he trying to, help Jace and he found interest in it, but, there's that little, he's doing it for his own self-gain, but, to save, his life and others suffering like him. Because we don't know, because there's likely other people in the Undercity that are suffering just like him.
Yeah. And well, there is also Heimerdinger, the one that he pushed the most against Hextech because he knows what a real danger the magic can be.
Oh yeah, it's because the reason why he has that is because Heimerdinger has lived through something like that. As the show implied.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, a lot of people like think that is like a bad leader, Heimerdinger, and he's a bad scientist because he doesn't want to,
And
use.
was just an obstacle to Jace and Victor.
Yeah, but ironically, I think that in the future it's really obvious that he, not even seeing season 2 at all, even in season 1, you could tell that he was proven right in the end. With,
Oh yeah,
yeah, that one of the things he said is that uh, dangerous people could get a hold of this technology to make something terrible, and that's exactly what happens.
And he was one of the few of the council members that wasn't corrupt. The other could be, Jace.
Yeah.
Huh?
yeah. It's because Heimerdinger was more of a scientist than a politician. Like in the scene where Jace makes his negotiations, like when we see Heimerdinger, he's just having fun. He's just enjoying the play. He doesn't really care about profit or gain. He's just there to have fun.
I think even Caitlyn's mother was a little corrupt.
Yeah.
Hmm?
Oh yeah, for sure. Because I mean, she was bribed by Jace for when he was making deals with others.
And he was like his protege of Caitlyn's mother, but after he was, um, uh, he was, fired and all that. Huh?
Yeah. He
Of
was.
the
Oh yeah.
expelled of the university. She just say fuck you, no man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like the moment Jace got kicked out, like she just turned her back on him. And then ironically, when Jace discovers Hextech and we see in uh
And after,
Progress Day.
yeah, after he becomes, famous again, she was like, "That's my boy." Hmm?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's our prodigy. He invented Hextech. He's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Even though just, a few years ago you turned your back on him and, said, you and your husband said he was trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just ironic how things go.
Yeah, and really I can't blame like Heimerdinger for being so opposed to Hextech because he saw himself because he's really old. He's a Jordal, so he lives. He's immortal. So he saw
Yeah.
what could do the magic in the wrong hands, and it, a comparison with real life could be like a scientist who saw the what nuclear weapons can do and
For
how.
the Holocaust, is one thing just to learn from history books, and another thing to have lived that.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like I like that what the show did was I kind of do parallels with Hextech and, nuclear power, nuclear energy or nuclear weapons. Because like what the show implied was that Heimerdinger lived through the Rune War, which was that thing we saw with the mage causing destruction, and the show itself has said implied that the arcane magic itself, like yeah, it's wonderful as we saw from Jace, but throughout the eyes of the masses, like Heimerdinger and other people, arcane is unimaginably terrifying and dangerous.
Yeah. Um, what? The other character, Iko.
Yeah, he's really interesting because he. At first, you think that he's not going to appear later in the series, and one of the characters that you see in the opening is this guy with a mask, and later you find out that it was.
Oh
Iko.
yeah.
Yeah. Not
Oh
only
yeah.
Iko becomes a badass in the time skip.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Echo's like such a
Yeah.
great character.
Yeah. And he becomes
What?
like the only leader of the resistance against Silco,
Yeah, the firelights.
the Firelights.
The firelights is so cool.
Oh yeah, one of the best AC fight scenes in the entire series is like the Firelights versus Vi and Jinx.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or like, the firelights against Silco's henchmen, but mainly with Jinx.
And
Like just when they first appear, it was amazing. Just them coming out of the pipes, and then just them diving down.
not
I like how when
only
you look at that scene.
not only
Sorry, go
that,
ahead.
I think that Jinx's real arch nemesis or rival is Echo because they have 3 fights in the season.
Yeah, at first you don't realize that it was
Yeah,
Echo in with the guy with the mask, but later when you find out, you realize, oh yeah, there was a fight then with Echo.
Yeah, the first one, the first scene in the time skip when they are gonna rob Shimmer,
Yeah,
the Silco
yeah,
henchman. After that, the fight with the Firelights and the last battle with Jinx and Echo.
yeah,
Hmm?
yeah. The fight.
yeah,
Yeah, the fight with Vi, Jinx versus the Firelights. That one is really good because that's also the part when they reveal how unstable. They really show how unstable is Jinx and how she has no mercy with anyone. She's really aggressive and that's like a tonal whiplash because all that time Vi had. She still thought that she was powder, but no, she's like
yeah.
a different person.
And Echo like reinforced that too. When he finally sees Vi again, and Vi, she's insistent on trying to bring Powder or Jinx as Powder back, but Echo is just like, no, you can't, because he's implying that he tried, well, like what he's been through with Jinx, that she's no longer the same girl that Vi used to know.
Yeah, Jinx was like the dragon of Silco.
Yeah.
At that
Yeah, like
time.
his main enforcer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and another like and because of that, the show has implied that Echo and Jinx have had other scuffles in the past, like with the mural, the painting of all the people they've lost. When he says, some of them were enforcers, others were Silco's henchmen, and it's not the first time the Firelights get directly involved against Silco's operations. It implied that Jace has, I mean, sorry, not Jace. I'm sorry, that Jinx has killed other Firelights even before the first scene when we seen them
I
fight.
mean, in the scene itself, she already killed for sure the pink-haired girl, and she also you can see her throwing
Because she was similar to Vi.
Yeah,
Physical.
she reminded her of Vi, and she was causing like, those visions and all of that. And but not only that, you can clearly see her throwing grenades at many of them. We don't see their bodies, but we can assume that they died. Those firelights.
Oh yeah, because we don't see them ever again. Like I'm pretty sure she kills the two Firelights in like the basement of that airship, and the
Yeah,
other two that fell off and were blown to hell. And what I liked about Echo as well is that despite all he's accomplished, he's not in complete control or completely mature. Because like
And
what you guys pointed out, when Jinx kills the pink hair girl, Echo's like devastated. He's contemplating we need to go, or he wants to get revenge. And the first thing he does is try to get revenge, even if it was a bad idea.
yeah, the problem with Echo is he's a good character, but he isn't as strong as Bander of B.
yeah.
Yeah,
He's just
I mean he's
I mean, it does. He didn't have nearly as much screen time as the others.
yeah.
yeah,
He's more like a side character from the part of the Undercity plot.
A
Uh,
cool
yeah,
side character.
yeah, just
actually.
like Heimerdinger is more like a side character on the Piltover plot.
yeah. But despite them both being side characters of the respective sides, they're both like very influential on how things go.
Yeah.
or like they help set motions for other events that go
Yeah.
down.
For example, the first season have two main story arcs. You know, the Undercity one with Silco, and the two protagonists are B and Caitlyn. And from the upper city and all the politics, the protagonist is Jace, Mel, and Victor.
Yeah.
Hmm?
Yeah, yeah. And Heimerdinger's in the side of all of that up until he gets exiled
He was
from the
like a minor
council.
antagonist, a good guy, but an antagonist in that part to Jace. Hmm?
Yeah, yeah. At the
Yeah,
beginning, he was like the antagonistic force to Jace.
because he's the one that's constantly trying to put Jace on a leash. But like even if but like he's understandable in doing so. Because as we've said, he knows the danger of magic. But even from like their first inventions, like the Atlas gauntlets and the Hex Claw, when they demonstrate the Hex Claw, Victor turns off the crystal that connects the Hex Claw, but there's a major flaw with the Hex Claw that it can read other hex gems like the one that Jace was holding, and because of that, it goes off and it nearly kills like his pet Poro, that little
Yeah.
goat thingy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just like how that, like you can understand from Jace's perspective, he's frustrated with, Heimerdinger, but you can understand Heimerdinger, like where he's coming from, because that's a legitimate reason to, say, with a few more, years, you need to iron the kinks out and they'll be good for mass use. Because, like, imagine how bad it'd be if, there's multiple hex claws and multiple gemstones going around. There's going to be a ton of collateral damage and a lot of people who could get killed. And those lasers are powerful, by the way. They cut through stone. Yeah, sorry, I kind of went on a little bit there than I should.
Yeah, it's good. Well, what other character we have?
Yeah, we haven't talked about the probably the one of the main antagonists of the next season, Ambessa, the mother of Mel.
Oh yeah, and Bessa. Let's talk about her.
Yeah, she's like Lady King Leonidas.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. A really
I like that.
lady.
Oh, sorry. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah, but he's very ruthless. Like she has no mercy for anyone, not even her own children.
Yeah, like I like that the first thing we get introduced through Ambessa isn't in person, but through like a flashback or a dream from Mel, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that scene was really good establishing the kind of character she is. We don't see her face yet, but just the way she acts, like she kills that girl that, was the original royalty of the city they conquered, I guess. And she does it swiftly too.
Mhm.
But she gives a good reason why they have to kill her.
Yeah, mercies for the weak.
Yeah, like she said, you have to be the wolf and the fox.
Yeah. And if you make the mistake of being merciful to the wrong enemy, they'll come back and, you'll have to take the lives 1,000 to take them down. And it's happened in like the real world too.
Yeah.
And I liked how, throughout the show, we kind of get build up for Ambessa. Because, like how Mel says she doesn't fit with her family's standards. And you just kind of left wondering, why is that? I don't understand why. And then we get introduced to Ambessa in person, and the comparison is clear as day. Like there's a huge that's another thing too. The character design in this show is really good. When you look at Mel, you can tell like she's more of a talker than a fighter. She looks, pretty. She doesn't have any scars. She doesn't look like a fighter. But then when you look at Mbessa, she's like big. She's kind of hulking. She has this, armor. She's kind of got this,
Yeah, she's
You know,
filled with
kind of a
scars.
ceremonial look.
Yeah, she's a lady of war.
Yeah,
Yeah. And like you look at her and you can tell she's been through a lot of stuff. She's been through a lot of violence.
yeah,
And it's, you know, kind of scary.
yeah,
And and later on, you know, she's shown that she can be just as manipulative as Mel, if not more so, as we saw with her interaction with Jace.
Yeah.
yeah. Oh,
Because that was a good scene too, right
yeah,
there when they talk in like the bathhouse.
I think that almost she tried to seduce him.
yeah,
I think so, yeah. She just casually gets up while, you know, she's naked and getting a massage from this guy. And, you know, Jace is just caught off guard by that.
yeah. And of course, after that, Mel is angry with her.
Yeah, because she realizes, you know, that Mbessa's manipulating Jace, and she's not going to have any of it, even if, you know,
Well, that is a little ironic because she tried to manipulate Jace in the first time.
Yeah. Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, but
And
at the
Mbessa
time,
even,
but by the time she comes, she already started to like Jace for real.
And they had a real relationship, but I know that Mel had a redemption arc, but still she can't will trip her own mother when she tried to do the same in the past.
Yeah, she even says that, Ambessa.
yeah, that, you know, because you weakened me, you know? Like, you know, she just couldn't stand every disapproving look Mel gave her when she, you know, took necessary actions, as she said, which implies, you know, she either killed more people, but just, you know, Mel just didn't like that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just,
What?
oh, sorry, no, go ahead, go ahead.
I was going to say that we have to talk a little more about Silco because we mentioned him a little, but he's the main villain of the
First season.
Yeah, so we have
Oh,
to
yeah.
talk about him more.
Yeah, he's
Yeah, I
a
wanted to
great
talk about it too.
antagonist
Oh
for
yeah,
me.
the funny thing is
Oh,
when
yeah.
he is introduced in the first episode, you think that this is going to be like a cartoony villain with the evil eye and all that shit.
And an evil
The twirly
cat,
mustache.
like a James Bond villain.
Yeah.
Well, he had
Yeah.
a cat in the first episode, if I remember.
Yeah, but he killed it with the shimmer rat.
Yeah. Like, I just love how, you know, they open up kind of, you know, deceiving you that Silco is going to be this kind of villain. But as the show goes on, you know, he becomes so incredibly complex. Like, he's legitimately like one of my favorite villains I've seen in a TV show.
Not only that,
Or even just through media as well.
and in the prologue, you know, the first 3 episodes, Silco won. He
Oh, yeah.
defeat Bander and he take control of all the Undercity of Sounds.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
that the reason why he took powder is because in a way he kinda still had respect for Vander and he knew that was his adopted daughter, but in a way it was like almost like a twisted way of corrupting her because one of the things that Silco said was that he wanted to use Vander as a test subject to use him like another monster like Deckard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
I like-
think
I think
Powder
another-
was like the ultimate fuck you to the poor old Bander?
Yeah, I am going to make her exactly the opposite that you would want her to be.
But not only that,
Yeah.
he saw the potential in Jinx or Powder in her bombs.
Yeah, but
Oh, yeah.
he didn't know that he would end up having a real bond with her.
Yeah. Because, like, I think another thing of why Silco had, you know, brought in Jinx, or like Powder, was because, you know, he saw a bit of himself, you know, with Powder. Because, you know, like Powder, he got betrayed by someone he saw as like his brother, Vander, and Powder went through this similar thing with Violet. Granted, not as violent, but still a betrayal in some way.
But can you blame that B? She didn't. She didn't hate Powder, but it was the natural reaction after all that.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, I mean, she just saw her adopted father and her brothers get killed in a violent way, and she saw Vander die right in front of him.
Yeah.
And only to know that your sister is the
He's
reason
bragging
for
that
all of
she did
this.
it. Huh?
Yeah, like he was a good thing.
Hmm?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like shit, it's like, damn. I mean, like, it's messed up, that Vi hits Powder, but you understand why, because like anybody who goes through that is going through the motions.
Yeah.
They're upset and furious unimaginably.
Yeah.
And what I liked about Silco is that when he knows about the betrayal of Vi, or like the implied betrayal that Powder or like Jinx feels towards Vi, he uses that to his advantage, by saying, whenever Jinx, acts up against him, like he says, everybody betrays us. I'm your only family,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, he's such a clever villain too. Like, he doesn't use, direct strength to get what he wants.
Actually, I
you know?
think that his fall, that Silco downfall was ironically Jinx.
Yeah.
That he loved
Yeah.
the daughter Jinx because he can manipulate her, but just a little. But he lose that leash to manipulate her when he injects her with Shimmer because that made her more unstable now.
Yeah, and that's the moment when
Yeah.
you start to think more than ever that Kathleen is like taking away Vi from her.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, yeah, that's true, yeah.
So you could say that Jinx was the downfall of Silco.
Yeah, everyone was thinking that. Even Marcus and Sevica were like telling him all the time that she was more trouble that was worse and all of that.
Yeah. Like in the first scene where Marcus tells that he could arrest Jinx for Silco, like Silco reacts angrily every time someone implies getting rid of Jinx,
Yeah,
Yeah.
Because, like, he cuts his cigarette angrily. Or when Savika says that Jinx is a problem, he's like, who's we? And he just expresses disappointment with Savika.
Yeah.
Or even, like, uh, like, uh, like that scene when he talks to Jace, What Silco talks to Jace.
yeah. Yeah,
That's a powerful scene.
yeah, really good scene, and it's funny because you realize, oh, these two characters never interacted with each other before.
Yeah, but it was like using the mirror, the good side and the bad side face to face. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying
And a
to-
show of, like,
yeah,
good
trying
faith,
to get an understanding, to get, yeah, that.
Yeah.
Yeah, to give their reasonings.
The thing I like about Jace, he isn't just like the other of the council members. He doesn't have problems with, do the work when he goes with B to just destroy a Shimmer plant.
Yeah, that fight scene.
Oh,
is
that's
so
an
cool.
amazing scene.
That's
Yeah.
probably
The music
the
was great,
best
too.
fight scene of season 1.
Yeah, he doesn't have a problem, Jace, to get his hands dirty. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. He may come from a privileged life, but, he's worked in, like, heat and, like, the forge, so he's not afraid to, get down when the job needs it,
yeah,
And that fight was just so good as well. I mean, you could argue that Jace might be a little overpowered because he's ripped. Yeah, he's like built, but we haven't really seen him fight before, unlike Vi.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, but you can tell that he wasn't like being really good at like what he was doing in that fight wasn't he wasn't like Vi that clearly knows how to fight, doing all those dodges and defend fast punches. He was just waving his hammer around, and he it's not like that much of a complicated motion. If the part that he showed more skills was when he used the mode to shoot with the hammer like a rifle.
Yeah, and
Yeah, the
he's killing,
the magic bullets.
that shimmer monsters that reminds me of the big daddies of Bioshock.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, like that thing was incredibly powerful because just a single shot from that thing just kills them, even if it doesn't blow a huge hole in their chest. Just the magic going through it just annihilates them inside.
Yeah, and all that hulking shimmer monster were almost as strong as Deckard shimmer form
Yeah.
in the first 3 episodes.
Well, yeah, that shows you that Hextech is far more stronger than Shimmer monsters.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Hextech just has far more destructive capability than Shimmer. Because like when we see that scene where Silco and
Shimmer
Jace
is
talks,
like just raw power, but the other is the power of technology. Hmm?
yeah. And as we've learned, technology triumphs over raw power
Yeah.
because you could replicate that power, but in mass production,
Yeah, and
or even greater than that.
yeah, but one thing that we noticed, we won't talk much about season 2 yet because we are only 2 episodes in, but
It's good.
yeah, we have noticed one
Yeah.
thing, that it is really that the fight scenes that are the most flashy obviously got the most praise in season 1. So now I feel that they are doing more of those type of fights in season 2, and there is
And
like
are flashier now.
yeah, and
It's almost
Yeah.
like a shonen anime now.
yeah, you can tell that the writing is worse in season 2, but and it's trying to compensate with that with more fight scenes. Like there was in season
Yeah.
1, there was entire episode that didn't have fight scenes.
Yeah, throughout season 1, it was mostly just characters having meaningful discussions.
For example, in season 2 now, the other crime lords from are now like mid bosses from an episode. There is one that is like a little scribe from Gremlins.
Yeah, I think his name is Snitch.
Yeah, Snitch, but he was
Oh,
a
Smeech.
character. Huh?
Yeah,
I love Smeech. He's such a
Yeah.
good character.
Yeah,
yeah, and they kill him in the first episode he appears.
yeah, I think he was an
Yeah.
underrated villain.
Yeah, I think he could have been a really cool character in season 1, but he was just in there in season 2 to kill him in a very fun fight. Oh yeah, and
Yeah.
another thing, the woman that Jace kills her son accidentally. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
they later give her a chainsaw even though she clearly was not a fighter.
And she becomes a
Yeah.
badass. You know why? Because we need a fight scene with a villain.
We need fight scenes.
Yeah. So,
And like,
the second season, the first 2 episodes, I think, Arcane is still good, but it's like more an anime thing now. Huh?
Yeah.
yeah.
With more fights. Huh? And all that.
Yeah, and I think that yeah, that woman was from the one of the the crime lords. she was the perfect example because she clearly was not a fighter. Yeah, like when you see her and when Finn tried to betray Silco, they broke Sevica and trying to convince her that she kills Silco because. But if she was a fighter all the time, she could have bring her chainsaw and kill Silco herself.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's true. Wow, I didn't hear anybody bring that up before. That's a really good point.
Yeah, so now we have only seen the first 2 episodes of season 2, so season 2 will gonna be another podcast sometime, but I
Oh
think
yeah.
the Crime Lords are just meat bosses of a video game.
Yeah, I
in
think that
season 2.
there's
Yeah.
only one crime lord left, and he probably going to get killed too
Mm,
Yeah.
in the next episode.
I mean, we'll see.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, anyways, I
I
think
just wish we got more Sneech.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, well, I think that might be enough for the podcast for now. Unless one of you want to talk about anything else.
I really like that
Uh,
crime, the scribe one
Yeah.
from Gremlins. And his voice, he reminds me a little of the penguin of Danny DeVito.
Yeah. He was
yeah, I can see it.
He was one snorting shimmer.
He was
Yeah.
a good comedic villain, I think.
Yeah. I mean, he did appear in season 1. There he was a background character. He didn't even talk. I mean, he didn't have much personality.
He was like a black canvas in that episode in season 1.
Yeah, they could do whatever they wanted with him in season 2, and they made him maybe too fun for just being a character that gets killed in the first episode that he appears.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah, but at least he was the
Yeah.
main antagonist of the second episode. Eh?
Yeah,
He was like the driving force of that episode.
yeah.
Yeah. He was surprisingly, influential even for his short amount of time.
Yeah.
Well,
And honestly, he had some really cool gear too.
Yeah.
yeah.
And his fighting style that was all quick and all that.
Yeah, he even suggested Sevica to give her a new mechanical arm.
Yeah. I'll give you with all the, updates and all. And I like that he shows off his arm too, just like spinning, and it shows like these blades hidden inside.
Yeah. Well,
I think that he could even, not only Sevica, even B had a little problems fighting him.
yeah. But anyways, we
Yeah.
have to save that for another podcast.
For season 2.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you don't want to talk anything else about season 1?
No, it's alright.
I like it. I liked season 1.
It's excellent.
It's considered one of my favorite, pieces of television out there,
Yeah. But one of the best things that has been put in Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah, even after a good amount of garbage from them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, I think that that's
all for
yeah, that's enough for now. So see you later, guys.